Okay, belt CP and the DX6i. As you can see, I've removed the original receiver, ready for the new one. I'm just going to check if the play and for any binding on all your connections from the servos to the swash plate, etc. Check the tail, nice and free. This is the Falcon 3D head hold gyro I'm using on this bird at the minute. This is the aileron servo, connects down to the left hand side of the swash plate. Just check that's nice and free. Okay, the receiver itself, got a nice small little unit with a separate satellite receiver. Put that to one side. Right, we're going to fit this into the gap at the back of the helicopter. There's plenty of space in there for it to sit nice and neat. And the first servo we're going to connect is the elevator servo, which connects to the front of the swash plate. So we're going to run this through the frame just to keep it nice and tidy, and then we'll tie wrap it up later. All the connections on the receiver are marked up, named rather than numbered, so you know which one it goes into. And the white wire on the cable goes towards the front of the receiver where the label is. If you're using orange or different coloured servo cables, it's the orange servo goes to orange cable goes towards the front. Okay, that's that one in. Next is the aileron servo. Just drop that through the frame, and that plugs into the aileron channel. There we go. Next will be the pitch servo. This is the right hand servo, connects to the right hand side of the swash plate, and this connects into the auxiliary 1 channel on the receiver. Sometimes they're a bit tight, but better tight than a bit too slack. Okay, next the tail servo. I'm going to wind this wire around the boom just to keep it tidy, and then plug it into the gyro. If you're using a normal rate gyro, just keep the cables tidy. That plugs into the gyro, and then the wires from the gyro plug into the receiver. Now, the 3-wire on a normal head hold gyro will plug into the rudder channel on the receiver, and the single wire will go into your gear channel. This this gyro has 2 lots of 3 wires for some reason. So from the gyro to the receiver on the rudder, and then your single wire will go into the gear channel. This allows you to alter the rate and such like from the transmitter. Okay, they're in there nice and tight, and that'll sit nicely in the rear of the helicopter. The satellite receiver, they recommend that the aerials on both receivers are 90 degrees displaced, so you have one vertical and one horizontal. So I'm just going to thread the wire through the chassis, and I'll tie wrap that, secure it away from any moving parts later. And that just plugs into the side of the receiver. Can be a bit fiddly, but you get used to it. That plugs in there, and then that fits underneath. Okay, now see I've tied wrapped the cables up to keep them tidy, and next we're going to put the speed controller. We'll put this on the other side of the helicopter. Plenty of places where you could fit it, but you'd really restrict it to the length of the wires. So you can connect without putting any strain onto the solid joints. So we have a battery side, motor side, and the other side connects to the receiver. So position it somewhere along the side, make sure the wires are long enough to reach the motor and long enough the battery ones will reach around about the front skid. You'll see why later. So I think we'll probably mount it roughly about there. So could move it further back, but your cables might be a bit short and you're putting a bit too much strain on the cable. So we'll test it with the battery. We'll get the battery in. You can see the battery cable fits round about near the front skid, so as long as we can reach that without putting any stress on the cables, that'll be fine. So I'll probably put it in about here. I'm going to use a couple of tie wraps. I find using 2 or 3 rather than 1, you get a better shape and you're not putting any stress or pressure on the heatsink of the speed controller. So you can watch me struggle on for a little bit. We'll thread it through and connect it up. You can see the shape will match the flat edge of the speed controller, so we're not putting any pressure on it. You should be able to move it slightly. With a sticky pad you could restrict it, moving a little bit more without putting too much pressure on it. Tidy up the tie wraps. And there we go. Tight enough to secure it, but not too tight to restrict any movement. Just tidy up the excess tie wraps. Your motor cables will fit, your battery cable will fit. Next, to connect the speed controller to your receiver, I'll find a couple of tie wraps on the wire sections either side of that black lump, which is to suppress any interference. It's like a ferrite ring with a capacitor, like a smoothing capacitor, not to worry. So here we go. Next we'll connect the speed controller into the receiver. It goes onto the throttle channel on the receiver. Can be a bit fiddly, but you could have connected it up a little bit earlier. So there we go, connected onto the throttle channel. Next we just need to finally connect up the oh right, okay, we're going to put a single tie wrap just to secure the receiver in place. Good editing on my half, I'm going my behalf there. Okay, so one tie wrap just around the receiver to secure it. Doesn't have to be too tight, just to stop it from moving around inside the frame. You could use a sticky pad, but I find that just a